Everybody, welcome back to Northernlion Plays The Binding of Isaac Afterbirth. Plus, this is a big one. Win 30 would be real nice. It'd be real nice. We're starting a little spicy. D3BD, WVVV. Most important thing. Well, realistically, the most important thing is our rate of fire, along with our HP. And actually, our rate of fire... No. Our rate of fire is good. Good enough to be happy with at the very least. The second most important thing is don't throw any HP away. We're coming off of a run. It's probably more dangerous than it originally looked. Because we're coming off of a run where we were doing just fine. Got a brimstone and then I made it home. Yeah, that's Mr. Brightside, sweetheart. A classic rock song. Well, I'm trying. You know what? I'm like, I don't want to make everybody feel old, but I'm running the numbers in my head, and I'm like, okay, Mr. Brightside came out in like 2004 or 2005, right? Let's say 2005. That feels right in my brain. So that song is 15 years old. So it's as old now as like Smells Like Teen Spirit was to me in 2005, which is a little surreal, but like. I also gotta tell you, if you're like, man, we're old, get over it. Look, I went through it openly in these videos for years, where I was like, I'm 100. But I get, you know, eventually, at least the way I'm at here, kind of come out the other side and been like, I got a long way to go until I'm actually old. To be like, I'm old when you're actually young is just like, you know, you're gonna be at it for a long time, so maybe like, just relax. I firmly believe that when people start having their first I'm olds, it's not actually recognizance of the fact that they're old, it's just that they're getting used to no longer being essentially part of the youngest generation. That's my thoughts. It's not like when you hear 22-year-olds be like, I'm old, it's not really them going, I'm old, even though that's what they're saying. God, I'm so old. What they're actually feeling is like, oh, I'm not part of the... When people say kids anymore, they're not necessarily referring to me. There's only a few certainties in life. Death, taxes, and then people, when they go to college, in their first couple of years, recognizing and rediscovering the shows that they loved as a child, turning them into recycled memes on the internet, and then being like, man, I'm old. I just turned 20. It's the honest-to-goodness truth. Now you, sir, are annoying me. Could you blow yourself up with a bomb, please? I was there, by the way. Couple of summer vacations in university. You know, there was a live stream on the internet back before like any of the major platforms existed. It was just a standalone website that streamed reruns of old Nickelodeon shows. Me and my buddy would, you know, come back from work. We lived together at the time. Maybe have a couple of drinks and watch old Ren and Stimpy episodes and be like, man, 1996 was so long ago, dude, we're ancient. Well, we'll take it, just to get out of here, really. I'm not, I don't know when you become old for the first time. I'm hitting a lot of the measurements, to be fair. I have gray in my facial hair. I am bald, but I've been bald since I was, you know... I went fully bald before I could even drink in America. So I think you're still almost in... Oh, God, that was close. You're almost still at the kid age right there. Which is also my favorite Radiohead album. Everything in its right... Okay. Everyone around. How dare you? I didn't think you could make it through the gauntlet. But I was gonna say, like, you become old when you have, like, more than 3 doctors you see on a regular basis. That's a little ableist, you know? You might just be... I was gonna say, like, you might just have some illness, but, like, that's not even true. You might just be, like, you know, young and otherwise healthy, but have, like, a rash. And have to go see a dermatologist or something. I'm not the gatekeeper of this. I gotta... You know what? I would say you're officially old when the government starts paying you instead of the other way around. Of course, you gotta get to that place in the first place, you know, because otherwise you'd be like, oh, so, you know, newborn babies are old? No. But I was talking to Kate yesterday, because, like, all these baby products we get, they have, you know, photos of babies on the front of them, right? And I have a controversial theory about men, myself included. I think, don't take these. That's just so foolhardy. You would have to be a dummy to do so. Let's explore the rest of this floor real quick. I have a controversial theory about men. I think at no two distinct phases of a man's life do they look more similar than newborn, infant, and octogenarian. I'm very cognizant of this because, you know, especially in all likelihood, I will be leaving this world bald. Babies oftentimes are bald when they're born as well. So, like, really, if I am, like, 75 years old and a little chubby and round in the face, that's probably... If you wouldn't look at a photo of me at 20 and be like, that's the same guy. But you would, if you saw a photo of me at, like, 2 months, be like, oh yeah, I totally get the resemblance. I think a man looks the most like himself from 0 to 6 months of age and then over 65. That's my hypothesis on the portrait of Dorian Gray. Okay, this is important. One of these days we'll figure out how to use... No, it's not important at all, actually. One of these days we'll figure out how we want to use Chaos Card, but that time is not now. What you got there, Kate? Little baby onesie? Did you order it, or is it a... Oh, she ordered it? Okay. I thought maybe it was just a gift. Well, I don't mean just a gift. I mean, you know what I mean. Alright. I do want to go to the curse room. I think it's a calculated risk. You gotta admit, you gotta be impressed with that. That was a really, really good performance there. Now, we're still a little bit understated. Oh, yeah, that's why I can't get to that stuff. We're definitely still a little bit understated, but we got advantages, you know. On my legs and my arms for you. Advantages, advantages, advantages. You know, hot, hot heat. Hot, hot heat. No spirit hearts for sale. Then sadly, here's, you know, this is a weird one. I thought maybe you would give 2 cents to the donation machine to see if it had the audacity to give me a luck upgrade. So we're a little, you know, spiced heading into this next section of the game, but not bad. Mostly we will definitely be looking for an opportunity to spend even just 5 cents on a spirit heart. Like, our stats are not good, but they are good enough to get us through this floor relatively unscathed. We'll have a decent chance at another deal with the devil, or even a deal with the angel. And I think if we get hit, we can always... And I'm glad I haven't used Glowing Hourglass yet. I probably will finish this run having never touched the spacebar for Glowing Hourglass specifically. But I believe if we find ourselves getting close to lethality, we can always just pop it. Like, what if I use that? Yeah, okay, so it does rollback time, so that we don't take damage instead. So we could have used that, I guess, when we went into the curse room, and then, like, you know, save the damage there. But as long... I think we really should expect that the alternative to what I'm doing right now, where I use Glowing Hourglass to avoid taking damage in a room where I took damage, the alternative is probably never using it. So we might as well, even if it seems relatively minor... We might as well use it to keep our HP, ideally, as high as possible as time goes on. That's what seems like the best course of action to me. And if you disagree, that's fine, but I think you gotta accept that this is definitely a better use of glowing hourglass than my average. Which is never touching it at all, most of the time. Really? And these guys are tanky. We must have hit, like, all of them. Yeah, I was gonna say, they all gotta be pretty close. So we didn't need to be in there, but it is what it is. Based on our one use of it... Oh, that was close. Based on our one use of it thus far, though, I would say I don't think we can use it to reroll the reward we get from a room. Because we got the same reward, and it could be a coincidence, but I'm guessing it wasn't because it was so specific. You know, when we redid the room and didn't get hit, we got a chest with a bomb and a half red heart. So I'm thinking you're just kind of stuck on that one. I think glowing hourglass beats Dead Sea Scrolls. Yeah, I would probably say number 1 is your best option here. Little dangerous, obviously, when your HP is so low. Or when your range is... Well, no, when your HP is so low. Your range getting lower forces you to play a little bit more of an aggressive game. But, you know, we got glowing hourglass hopefully to protect us in the interim period. And historically speaking, range upgrades seem to be ubiquitous. So we're talking a little Isaac, we are. We're talking a little Isaac. That's what happens when you get a run like this. We talked a lot about, you know, internet culture in the last episode, so I hope you'll forgive me this. I was gonna say dalliance, but chat recently told me. I've been using that as like a, you know, an aside. But apparently a dalliance is like a clandestine romantic tryst. I had no idea. I didn't read enough Jane Austen, I suppose. In fact, I haven't read any Jane Apollo. Pride and Prejudice, more like snooze. And look, I haven't read it or seen the movies, okay? I got nothing against Jane Austen, Jane Apollo. I'm just saying, she's no Stephanie Meyer. Stephanie Meyer wrote the Twilight books. Let's see what we get. Alright. It's a bit of a disappointing use of the hourglass, but I think in this situation it made sense. I mean, I think this is really... Oh, come on. We can't get in there now. We didn't want to anyway, in all likelihood, now that I look at it. I think this is an example of us just wanting to do the little things right. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do, alright? We're just gonna go a little heavy on this. Just to make sure we're in a good position for our next floor. I think that's what the donation machine is there for, you know? Is for you to lean on in situations where things are a little bit touchy. And things are a little bit touchy here. Humbling bundle helps, but it doesn't actually... Like, a humbling bundle is like having a higher team budget in Major League Baseball. You know, it doesn't actually... It doesn't actually hit home runs for you. Doesn't actually get on base. But it does allow you to, you know, create conditions that may make that stuff more possible and conducive. And don't forget about the... Don't forget about your chaos card. You know, if you find yourself in times of trouble, that might be something you could lean on. So I'm choosing not to go to the curse room because it'll cost us a full spirit heart. Perks. I'm willing to try. 2 pretty flies is really good. The rest is spiced. That's super nice. That doesn't matter. Okay. So this ended up being very good. Are you still going? Question mark. Question mark. Alright, and we'll just leave, obviously. Alright, this floor is where we expect it to really come to a head. Got a good chance of another deal. Just gotta stay frosty. And I gotta be honest, pretty proud of myself for my use of glowing hourglass. Normally, I just ignore it. To be fair, normally, I don't have to use it. You know, normally I'm in a situation where, you know, by the time we would need to use glowing hourglass. We've already gotten something we prefer, or the run is just so stable from an HP standpoint, we don't have to sweat it too much. You know what? Save me that half spirit heart. We know it's a dead end. Get me out of here. Maybe there's a better use for this item, but this is way better than our average use of this item, which is pretty much just doing nothing. Nothing at all. And then holding it and being like, what does it do? I don't know. It's not like I could just Google it and find out in 2 freaking seconds. Hey, now that time, it's pretty much 100% on me. Oop. I gotta say, if we're talking about least favorite enemies in the game, those fountains are pretty close to the top. Might as well, right? I kind of didn't want to do the room over again, but I think most of our damage comes from us being a little impatient and a little lazy, so starting to see the value of this spacebar item. Starting to see the value. Just keep it moving. Don't get so close. That's the problem. You tried to play chicken a little bit. Now, I will say, doing these large rooms over and over again, liable to lead to a little bit of a longer run than usual, but that's okay. It's a Thursday. We got plenty of time. We got plenty of time left. Probably should stop taking pills willy-nilly. I mean, it's still earlier. I'm still getting used to the fact that I wake up a little earlier now. Mostly because it came out of, like, nowhere. I didn't go, like, I gotta start waking up earlier. I really think, like, my body just went, like, you know, better to get prepared now than to have to shove all this stuff in, you know, on the same kind of period when we're... I mean, inevitably, having a baby is going to be a huge adjustment no matter what. But if you got 1,000 things to adjust to, and you adjust to, like, 3 of them prior to the baby's birth, that's probably better than trying to do it all at once. You know what I mean? It might not take it from hard difficulty to easy, but it might take it from, you know, extremely hard... I forget the name of the RimWorld storytellers. Randy Random to, like, whatever that lady's name is. Cassandra Normal. Hey, this is good stuff, but just give me a minute here, because we also want to do this. It's good money, for one. You're the more annoying one to play here. I hate to do it, because it's going to take some time, but that's okay. It's alright. Just, you know, keep it moving here. Do I want to go under 15 cents? Probably not. Do I want to take Fate? I do, dude. Oh my god, it's all the way back there now. I do want to take Fate. However, I really also would love to get the blood bag. And I guess moreover, like, the money that we're getting out of this is pretty good too. Oh my ward. That's just an amazing item. We're not going to say no to that. This is not an amazing item. I'm actually tempted to chaos this guy. But I think that we'll get him killed easily enough. And we should chaos the boss, though. And the main reason is really just so that we can also carry another pill or card with us. Like, we've been carrying this for too long, I think. It's liable in the near future to no longer be that good. You know what I mean? You know, like, at some point, it's too good to use syndrome. You know, it's like you're playing a JRPG and you get an item that's like, you know, brings a party member back from the dead and heals them to full HP and restores all of their MP. And you're like, whoa, that's so good. And then all of a sudden, you've beaten the final boss. I didn't mean to press that. For some reason, my brain teleported into the last run, and I thought that I had the pony. And then you beat Sephiroth. And all of a sudden, you're like, wait a minute, I never used the Divine Blessing. I think that's, whatever. That's where we're at right now with this Chaos card. We should use it so we don't have to lose it. You know, it's not an incredible play to kill Gertie with Chaos, but it's fine. It's fine. So you're pretty good. For now, I don't mind it. I will say with authority, I do not mind the existence of Book of Belial, but I really it's bro, it's slipped heavily under like all the other books in my power rankings. So I'm willing to go pretty hard on this one. We finally got it, dude. It's the one item we've been waiting for so long. I don't believe it. The third save file. He's done it. Alright, so hold up here. Wait, open up the door, it's real. Don't give me this room again. You know what? I refuse to take that damage. That is what the curse is built for, so I can't really be too mad. I think, sincerely, that I will just take fate and leave at this. Well, and now that, like, the rooms are close together, if they're still close together, which they are for now, I will play this a little bit more, because that's, thank you, Egghead, I appreciate it. The speed upgrade from this would be pretty nice. Oh well, life goes on. Now we'll leave. I don't believe it. Wonder what this unlocks for us. Is there an item that getting totally real, really real for real this time, Platinum God unlocks? Or do I have like a challenge or something I haven't done? I don't know. I'm kind of just enjoying the streaking, honestly. Maybe I'll put the rush in when we actually have an idea of when the DLC may or may not ever come out. Make a decision forthcoming with that sort of news. But yeah, to the last tangent I was on. I think a bald old man looks more like himself at 4 months than at 40 years. That's my hypothesis. And I will, in true 2020 fashion, accept absolutely no dissent on this issue. And I'll tell you, do your research, sweetheart. It's not my responsibility to educate you. And bless your heart. So what are we doing today? I mean, Thursday is a nice day for me. Because, like, honestly, I've been toning down. Well, we don't need to be in here then. And this does become the hourglass at a point. So, like, I guess we're going to be a little stoked when it does. But anyway, I got sidetracked. Because I've been recording a little bit less. And, you know, we can talk about that. It's not like really a conscious decision. Malf and I are just on baseball hiatus, but we will return very shortly. Like, maybe have already returned by the time this video goes up. Because we both want to do Season 2, and it did very well for us. And then, like, the other thing is, Trackmania is a ton of fun, and everybody loves it. It's so easy to record that the whole Golden Goblet I can record in, like, an afternoon, right? And still have a lot of time to do other work. So my schedule is freed up a little bit, which is really good, because, quite frankly, in, like, May and June, I was working too much. Not to be braggadocious or be like, oh, I'm so busy, I can't even live my life. You know, it is my choice, but it was getting a little too much. So it's been nice to have a little bit more free time. But now on Thursdays, like, I actually have the ability to either record a little bit more and get ahead, or I could start my streams a little bit earlier and, you know, instead of just being mainlining Dark Souls 2, which is actually fine. I'm leaning into the salt a little bit on the show, but it's actually totally fine, although not amazing. I could maybe even play a little Trackmania in advance, and then, you know, there's all sorts of cool stuff that flows from that. So Thursdays are they're a little bit more freeform now. Still a lot of work, because I do, you know, after recording, I stream 2 to 5, and then on Kate's stream, usually like 5 to 8, but oftentimes it's like 5 to 9. But still, they've become a little bit less, like, jam-packed to the gills. Now, the thing is, the other place that the time has come from is there's been a few, more than a couple, but a few missed Northernlion days, or Northernlion tries days over the past month or so. Really, there's a couple of reasons for this. We talked about it on Check the Wire, but if you don't want to check the wire, A, you should, because of course I'm going to tell you to, but B, you know, I can go over it here. So I've recently changed my working philosophy. Very subtly, but it makes a big difference. Rather than, like, I'm going to finish my work when it's done, I've changed to, like, this is the time I want to stop recording so that I also have time to do the necessary other stuff in my life that needs my attention. You know what I mean? Because the thing is, if you stop working, quote-unquote, when your work is done, a lot of the time, that's the proper attitude, but when you're self-employed, you know, and you make your own responsibilities, it's very easy to be like, we're just gonna keep adding more and more and more. So instead, I've been like, you know, we're gonna stop when I'm actually, like, when the time is done. Like, when the quitting time clock goes off, then it's time to stop recording and start setting videos so I can be prepared for, you know, the rest of my night. Cook dinner, clean up around the house, you know, spend some time with my wife, check in with the, you know, baby stuff, and, you know, make sure I'm there for all that. So, there's been a change there. Sometimes that means, and I apologize for this damage. We really want to get our damage stat higher on this floor, but sometimes that means that Northernlion Tries is the series that misses a day. It's not because I don't like the series. We should use money here. Just let me think for a second. That's probably good enough. We don't really need free deals with the devil, so I'd rather see if maybe we could buy some more useful item. I think that's probably where we want to be. And honestly, I'll coupon, thinking that maybe we could diplopia the coupon in a second and get 2 free items if we wanted to, but what is this? Joker. I'm gonna use it right away because I'm gonna annoy you. I mean, I don't really know what to say here, but we're definitely gonna take this. So if you got a problem with that, I apologize, but we will not take Guppy's head long term. We'll stick with diplopia. Okay, I think we're good to go then. I guess we should coupon and see if we get the piggy bank. Resident Sleeper, another brimstone run. You're not wrong. But on the other hand, nice. But anyway, it's not because Northernlion Tries is like the, you know, it's an annoying series to make. Or I don't like recording them or something. It's really rather that, like, that's this, every other series, Trackmania, Isaac, Monster Train, GeoGuessr. Like, that's stuff where it's just me, or it's me and, like, another person recording. The conditions of the industry do not matter at all, right? Northernlion Tries. Yesterday, I recorded 3 Northernlion Tries, I think. Did I? Maybe I only recorded 2? Maybe I only recorded 2. I think, no, I recorded 3. You know why I recorded 3? 3 cool games came out that I got codes for and was able to, like, knock them out nicely and have a lot of fun. But some days, it's like, oh, crap. There's no Northernlion Tries for tomorrow. And then I go to Steam and I'm like, it's very little stuff has come out. And I'm digging through the trenches, you know, trying to figure it out. Now, I will say, some of this, there is an operational fix to this, which is start taking suggestions from the audience, and then, like, I'll always have a list that I can go back to. It's not a bad suggestion. I'm not saying no to it outright. It does kind of go, not counter, but it's tangential to the original purpose of the series to begin with, which was not just to have a video every day for entertainment purposes, but it was so that you could be entertained while also maybe seeing a Steam release that maybe slipped under your radar. So a lot of the suggestions have been stuff like, you know, that I personally, the games are already revered and a little older and very popular. Sometimes I break that rule, by the way, like I played Death Stranding when it came out on PC. When everybody probably already had an opinion on it to begin with, but for the most part, I don't like to deviate from that too much. But I do think having like a living doc where I could pull suggestions from would help out a little bit. But it's also like, you know, I think the better way for me right now, the way I'm thinking about it, is that series is more like I want to do it every day, if we go through the occasional stretch where it's 4 or 5 times that week, rarely is it going to be like my laziness or lack of dedication. It's much more likely to be like, always consider that I've gone through the Steam new releases page and just found nothing suitable. And even we missed 2 Northernlion tries this week. Actually, I can explain the exact situation. I found 2 good targets for Northernlion tries, and then, you know, it was like close to quote-unquote quitting time, and I played one of them. This was on 2 different days, but it was the same situation. I played one of them, and I recorded the video for like 10 minutes, and it just kept crashing. And I was like, alright, so this is a no-go, and like it might take half an hour to find another game, then another half hour to record the video, and that'll put me way over time, which is not fair, you know, to the other stuff in my life. So I went no video tomorrow for Northernlion tries, and that's okay, because there's still 25 other videos. And then pretty much the exact same thing happened then 2 days later. I went to record this game, and I was like, this is a lot of fun. I recorded 10 minutes, then I looked at the preview video, and my webcam was in like 3 FPS, because the game, you know, I'm not going to belabor the point with the technical issues, but basically, the game doesn't have VSync, which forces your PC, or let me rephrase, it forces the game to have a capped frame rate, I think is the purpose of VSync. And then as a result, you might wonder, why would I ever want to cap the frame rate? Well, for some games, you know, if they're incredibly lightweight, if your computer runs at an uncapped frame rate, it might run at like, you know, 500 FPS and just sap all the resources in your machine that you're using to record, basically. To play it is probably, you're like, wow, this is so smooth, but to record it doesn't really work very well. Most games have an option to cap the frame rate as a result of that, but some games don't. And again, it was like the end of the day, and I was like, well, I don't really have time to find anything else, so I guess we'll just go no day today. But that's my new philosophy on Northernlion tries. It's not going anywhere, but there might be the occasional missed day. Anytime you see a missed day, don't be upset. Instead, you should smile and think that's NL enjoying, you know, another hour of either free time or knocking out some other responsibilities so that they don't pile up in his life. It's a necessary part of the work-life balance. Verp to you as well, sir. So this run is not losable now. The only way we lose is by reading the comments that are mad at us for not using Dogtooth properly, which is actually completely fair. I suppose we could get some value out of this, right? I think we would absolutely want to take... there's a luck upgrade in there, too. I think we would absolutely love to take some blood bags. There's another luck upgrade. We haven't gotten to do this too much. Okay, we got 1 IV bag. It's a little surprising, but that's fine. Still, like, 2 luck upgrades from that room is pretty good. And an infinite amount of money to spend on nothing at all. Oh, look at that. So yeah, that's my suggestion. I mean, I got a bundle of tips if you're a YouTuber or a streamer. I'm not a productivity expert, but I have stayed productive over the period of, you know, really much longer than most YouTubers, to toot my own horn a little bit. And you know, maintained an online presence while streaming for like, you know, 8 years without having a mental breakdown as well, which, you know, there have been times I've wanted to, don't get me wrong. You got a spirit heart for me? You do. I mean, if you're a content creator and you're watching this, I know there's a couple. Feel free to agree or disagree with me. But also, my tip to you is have a stop time. Like, my 2 big pieces of feedback are like, I hate when people are like, just work less, because I think that's not necessarily realistic or intelligent. Instead, make the most of the time that you have by actually, like, you know, segmenting some off time so that you don't feel like you're on the clock literally 100% of the time. And thus, after having those little periods of, you know, relaxation and some time to yourself, you feel rejuvenated to come back. So, you know, what I find is, like, when I have a decent amount of free time at night, too much and I get a little sluggish, but when I have a decent amount of free time at night, the next day when I record the videos, it's like video, lunch, video, stream, video, I'm done. When I don't take the time the night before, it's like video, Twitter, video, Reddit, Twitter, snack, video, Discord, Reddit, Twitter, Discord, snack, video, stream. You know, you get the idea. You're just not as... You're on for more time, but you're doing less despite that, which is the worst of all worlds. If you want to mitigate that, I mean, actively auditing your time in the moment. Because this applies to things that are not merely... I don't know. I don't think we popped this yet, dude. This applies to things, obviously, that are not just content creation, right? Just checking to see if we could hold 2 of those. I always forget. But yeah, actively auditing your time in the moment, I think, is important. But then secondarily, you know, making sure that you're taking as much time as is conceivable. In some situations, you're just going to be busy. You got to deal with it, right? But, you know, making sure you got enough time to actually, like, de-stress a little bit. Sometimes I think that getting distracted while you do things is a symptom of, without being, you know, rude or judgmental, I think it's a symptom of, like, poor self-control in this specific avenue. Like, if you're like, I can't, or you know, like, a real medical condition like ADHD or something like that. But, hold on, we should see if there's Guppy's head in here. But if you're like, I just don't really want to focus on this thing, then of course I think that's like a self-control thing. But if you're like, because I have days like this too. But if you're like, you record a video and then, you know, it takes you 15 minutes to get into the mode of your next task and it's like, you know, running through quicksand and stuff like that. For me, that's usually a sign like, hey, I probably worked a little too long yesterday. So let's make sure we cut it at a reasonable hour today so I can come back recharged tomorrow. That's my... I really look at... and this mostly only applies to people, I think, who freelance or are self-employed, like, and don't... You know, they do make their own hours, I should say. But I look at work like sleep to a great degree. You know, sometimes people are like, I don't get enough sleep. I'm like, well, are you... I'm not a sleep auditor. That's not my job, but do you, you know, go to sleep at the same time every day? Do you have a good sleep routine? Do you, you know, wake up at the same time every day? Or are you like, you know, on Monday I go to bed at 11 p.m. But then I slept too long, so like Tuesday night I don't go to bed until 5 a.m. And then on, you know, Wednesday I go to bed at 2 a.m. And like, of course you're not sleeping well. Your body's like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do at this specific time. And this is not judgmental. I feel for you, because the other side of the spectrum is people who can fall asleep at will and are like, why don't you just close your eyes? It doesn't work like that for everybody, okay? Hold on, we're looking for Guppy again. But I think the same way for people who, like, are like, I'm so burnt out. And I'm like, well, what does your day look like? And you're like, well, I dread making my videos, so I spend the first 6 hours of the day just doom scrolling. And then I, like, research what I want to do in my video. I do a little test run of the video. And then I take a lunch break, and I'm like, well, you know, I think you'd have a better situation if you just, like, did the work early and then, like, disconnected as early as possible instead of having it hang over your head. But I will admit, it's a little hypocritical. Sometimes I do that too. I just procrastinate different things. I always, making the videos, no problem. I've gotten a lot better about it. Streams, no problem. If somebody wants me to read and sign a document, I'm like, yeah, I'll pencil it in for 2027. I didn't get into this business to read legal contracts. But anyway, that's my way too soapboxy admonishment and also advice for other content creators. Because, like, I feel like I work a lot, but I wouldn't say I'm the only streamer I know who does this. I feel like there are streamers who work the same or less, but get burnt out faster. And part of it is, I think, like, I'm just wired, not differently than anybody else on Earth, but I got that, like, hard-headed, stubborn kind of tenacity, for better and for worse, that, you know, allows me to work more without getting burnt out, but also simultaneously is like, why would I play new games when I could just play the same game, you know? So there's positives and negatives to that. But I'm also like, man, I mean, this is like, we're getting a little more judgmental than I originally meant, but I'm like, yeah, of course you're getting burned out. We both stream the same amount of hours a week. Mine's like, you know, 3 to 6 hours a day, and you're like, you know, Monday, 10 hours, Tuesday, 12 hours, Wednesday, 6 hours, Thursday, 12 hours, Friday, I don't feel so good. Like, yeah, no kidding. I think streamers would benefit. Admittedly, it's coming from a position of privilege as well, because, you know, I'm blessed to, and no, I had an active role in it, obviously, but I'm blessed to have a great community of people that, you know, if anything, are like, hey, take more time off, you know? And when I stream 3 hours, they give me a certain level of support. And, you know, when I stream 1 hour, they would probably give me a certain level of support as well, which I'm incredibly grateful for. A lot of other streamers feel the compulsion to stay under the lights for as long as possible every single day, because, you know, it might be the difference between them being able to stay full-time and comfortable or not. But I'm also like, you know, I don't know how much you can, you know, rely on that kind of reasoning when it's kind of, for a lot of people, having a serious effect on their physical and mental health that'll probably shorten the amount of time they can spend in the industry to begin with. You know what I mean? For me, and this is just me, I would rather have a streamer who's like, I stream 3 hours, and this is why I built my stuff like this, but I would rather have a streamer who's like, I'm on for 3 hours a day, every day, barring emergencies. Versus, like, if I tune in, there's like a 60% chance this person's live. They'll have been live for like 10 hours. And sometimes I'm like, hey, where are you? It's Wednesday. And they're like, you know. Obviously, like, physical health issues factor into this as well, but I think people would benefit from some more long-term thinking some of the time. But I get it's also hard, you know? Like, on Tuesday, we had Unity. Unity went well, at least from my standpoint. I was having a great time. So after, like, Unity ended, I'd only been live for, like, 4 hours. And I was like, I could end the stream. I have done that in the past. But I also, like, I kind of felt like I was riding a wave, right? So instead, I played some Dark Souls 2. And I didn't really, like, I hadn't eaten much that day. I was gonna order some delivery, but then that like $10 burrito that I was gonna order, $10 Canadian, not $10 Australian. That $10 Canadian burrito was gonna cost $10 Australian by the time it got to me. So I said, heck no. So I kind of just like, you know, burned the candle at both ends and streamed for like 7 or 8 hours. And when I was done, I was like, man, I don't feel great. I had a great stream, don't get me wrong, but like on a physical and mental level, I feel like a little drained. And I just thought about like, man, this would be even worse. Imagine, like, this is just one day, and I treat myself well most of the other days. Imagine if you like, because I feel like a lot of streamers just kind of, they stick to that routine and feel increasingly worse every single day. And then eventually they reach like a breaking point where they're like, I don't feel well enough to stream today. And then, you know, they take a couple of days off and they come back and start from zero. I mean, people have been doing it on the platform for a decade, so maybe they know something I don't know, but anyway. This is, I apologize because, oh my god. We've been talking about this for a long time and probably almost nobody cares. But, I don't know. It's interesting to people sometimes. I also, and this is very self-righteous, I'll admit, but sometimes I feel like, you know, Daniel and myself are kind of dissenting opinions in the sea of content creators. Not the only dissenting opinions, but, you know, a lot of what I hear is like, it's really hard to be a streamer, it's really hard to be a YouTuber, and it is, there are challenges, but I'm also like, feel like a lot of the damage, don't get me wrong, there's some messed up stuff that content creators have to deal with, just due to parasocial relationships and stuff like that. People like don't like the way you play a video game and will write essays about like how terrible you are as a person, which is just insanity that you have to deal with, and every streamer has a story about it, guaranteed, if they've been at it long enough anyway. But I also feel like some of the wounds that streamers and YouTubers complain about a lot, or even myself, I think are a little self-inflicted. I'm not bringing it up to say like, oh, I'm perfect, you should model your channels and work-life balance after me, but, you know, at least having like some work-life balance is important. That's my 2 cents. And that's the rest of the story. Anyway, how about that? Like 4 brimstone runs in a row is what it took. But hey, it got us to win 30. And I told you, I think my audition is over. we had a death and now we're back. We're back with a streak of 30. For now, thanks for watching. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. Helps out a great deal. It's the single best way you can help me out as a content creator. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. See ya.